Welcome to Pursuing Joy, where we discuss audacious stories of joy-infused strength. I have the pleasure of having a great conversation today with Forrest Derr, and I have to say, my youngest daughter is a huge Forrest Frank fan. So every time I say this name in my head, I have to go back to Derr. So, Forrest Derr, can you introduce yourself and tell us what you're up to these days?
Thanks for having me, Julia. Appreciate the opportunity to be on the podcast. My name is Forrest. I'm a fractional integrator or COO, depending on which language you choose to incorporate. So if you're running on EOS, I'm a fractional integrator. If you're not running on EOS, I'm a fractional COO. And I've been doing this since January officially, and just enjoying the ride, helping customers and particularly founder-led businesses to get unshackled from their business.
Awesome. And where are you located?
I am located in a little town. I'm scared to say it because people will try to move here, but it's Fairhope, Alabama. And if you look it up, you may want to come visit. So.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
I'll have to look at that. Okay. I make a trek about once a year or sometimes every 2 years to my hometown in Memphis.
Mm-hmm.
So we come up through Alabama.
Yeah.
And that's usually our parking or like our overnight stay before we keep going. So I'll have to check that out.
Well, I'm on the Gulf Coast, so that would be a little bit of stretch out of your way. So.
Is it on the Gulf Coast?
Yeah, I'm right on the Gulf Coast looking at Mobile Bay. Yeah.
Okay, so you told me, how far are you from Birmingham?
About 4 hours.
Okay. Remind me of, so I used to vacation in Gulf Coast when I lived in Memphis. That was the vacation spot, like
Gulf Shores.
Biloxi or Gulf Shores.
Yeah.
And now I'm on the Atlantic side, and that's where we hang out these days. So the water in Gulf Shores.
Yeah.
It is. What is the?
It's crystal clear. So
is it okay?
It's called the Emerald Coast, and the water on the Gulf Shore side is crystal clear. Now on the Mobile Bay side, it's actually very dirty, which is interesting.
Oh, okay.
From a geography standpoint, there's 5 rivers that come down into the Mobile that dump into the Mobile Bay. And all the sediment and everything from all the northern states comes down and it pushes it to the west. So the east side of the water, the east side of Mobile Bay, as you get over into Florida, it gets to be called the Emerald Coast because it gets to be nice, crystal clear green water.
Okay, well, there's an incentive because I haven't seen the bottom of the ocean floor in a minute.
Oh yeah, you need to come to this area, Gulf Shores, Orange Beach, those types of places.
Okay, all right, awesome. Okay, so I'm curious if you, based on how you just introduced yourself, you were talking. So I probably know the term integrator more than COO these days, but I worked in a large company about 10 to 15 years ago. And so what do you see a difference based on how EOS defines an integrator and what a traditional COO is? Do you?
I use them interchangeably, but I think the biggest part is the language and that relationship between the visionary and integrator versus a founder and a COO. That visionary integrator relationship is really, really like a marriage. And that sounds strange to a lot of people, but it is like a marriage where you guys, the two people are working well together to lead that organization, almost like a father and a mother leading that organization, husband and wife. Whereas the COO role is, I see it as more operational minded and just not as tight of a relationship.
Okay, so that's interesting because I'm working with a client right now that is not EOS, but it is a husband-wife team. And I was on a call with just the wife, and she's more of like in the integrator role. And she was having a conversation with me, but she was attributing it to them being married. What the friction and the way that they were seeing things differently. And I was like, I assure you, this is like normal relations with anybody in this like business space. This isn't necessarily a reflection on your marriage. It's a reflection on how y'all go about business together.
Yes.
And I feel like I've seen a lot of conversation, an uptick in conversation about this relationship. Do
Yeah,
you?
I mean, 100%. So I will share that I was in a visionary integrator relationship and decided to leave that visionary and go work with a different visionary, and it did not end well. And one of the challenges I've seen in talking to integrators, it seems as though, and it's not 100%, but based off the rough data that I've gathered, if the integrator decides to leave the visionary, there is a lot of friction and maybe a completely broken relationship. Whereas if the visionary asks the integrator to leave, it's not as bad as of a breakup, so to speak. But
Okay.
it's almost like you're working with somebody as an integrator, you're working with that visionary, you're really close, and then you go decide to work with another visionary, and now you're going down the street to the younger, better looking girl that's actually just a younger company that's smaller and growing. And there's a lot of friction that gets created. I've talked to a number of integrators that have gone through that process to, again, relate it to it's like a marriage. I mean, you're codependent on each
Yeah.
other, and a lot of times that visionary is very dependent on that integrator.
Yes. No, I totally agree. Uh, it's so as far as your working geniuses are enablement and tenacity,
Yes.
correct?
Yes.
And I see that a lot in the integrator space. Do you know the working geniuses of any of the visionaries that you work with?
I do not. I know mine, but I did not know the visionaries that I've worked with now.
Okay, so yeah, but I bet you have a hunch of what
Yeah,
some of that some of that could be, and so that's where I went.
probably my weak points.
And yeah, and that's actually the way that it should be, because I've
Exactly.
accidentally ended up in these conversations just based on explaining the working genius, or even my hiring process, and
Mm.
we get into the working genius discussion, and it's like these light bulb moments come on of like, oh, that's there's just this you need each other,
It's a
you
compliment.
complement each other's, but the communication is just so vastly different in how the mind works as well.
Yep.
So can you give me an example of uh, your relationship with any visionary
Mhm.
where where you are almost saying the same thing but just
Mhm.
in different ways,
Yeah.
or where you can see something on the way that it can get across the finish line, but they
Yeah.
want to go back over here and start brainstorming
Yeah.
again. Those instances, can you describe that and how
Yeah.
you get it back in sync?
Yeah. Yeah. So one of the visionaries I was working with, we would have a VI day every month. Once a month, we would spend a day together, and that's again part of that EOS relationship, that VI
Right.
relationship. You have a same page meeting once a week, and
Mhm.
then once a month, you get out of the office and spend the day together. And many times we would do that, and we would both prepare separately, for that time together. And the visionary would say, "Hey, I think we need to start think about doing this, and this." And I kid you not, I could turn my laptop around and say, here's my notes. And I was saying the same thing, but from a different perspective. And he used to get frustrated. It was kind of funny because he would get mad. He was like, I thought I was bringing something new. And I'm like, well, yeah, but we're talking about it from different directions. The good part is I've already been working on this for the last 2 weeks, getting things prepared. And now I can accelerate the progress to take that idea to the next level. So when you have what my experience has been is when the VI relationship is really tight and they're really on the same page, then they start, almost finishing each other's sentences to where an idea has been brewing, but through the conversations, just the weekly conversations, they should be aligned.
Okay, awesome. All right. So I saw, I'm not, you might have posted this today or maybe sometime this week about bathroom breaks and right person, right seat.
That was this morning. Yeah.
Okay. So, which was, I mean, very, uh, like very eye catching,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Sure.
And something
Did you
to
notice the
actually.
toilet seat was up though? I mean, that was part of the issue. Or I'm sorry, the toilet seat was down. That was part of the issue with the picture. But anyway,
Well, I saw the meme too of the little Elmo
yeah,
sitting
the Elmo
on
meme
the
was awesome.
potty.
Yeah, yeah,
So It definitely got everyone thinking.
Yeah.
So how would you say in most of your relationships with companies, how involved is the integrator in that process?
Very involved. So if that, I would say very involved if the visionary truly embraces EOS. There are a lot of visionaries out there who say they're operating on EOS and really they like the idea. They like to tell people they're operating on EOS, but they really don't believe everything about it. But as an integrator for the organizations where I have had a visionary that's 100% bought into the EOS process, the integrator is heavily involved in identifying RPRS, right person, right seat issues. Um, Many times, what happens is these visionaries, these founders have built a business and relied on a couple of key people who have been elevated through the years, whether it's 10, 15, even 20 years. And the challenge becomes those people getting elevated into leadership team roles, and then that company outgrows their capabilities. I've had the experience of building a leadership team and then having to remove people off of the leadership team because they just were not capable of keeping up. Great people, wonderful assets to the company, but they just could not keep up with the pace of the business. And that visionary needs to rely on that integrator to help them through that process to figure out what adjustments need to be made.
Right. Okay. No, that I can see that because when you are starting a business, you tend to tend to go within your
Network.
circle.
Yep.
Yes,
Yep.
definitely. Uh, how have you determined the let's give me an example of a role that you had to fill on a leadership team.
Finance manager.
Oh goodness. Okay.
Yeah.
All
I'll
right.
pick another one if I need to.
No, no, no. But so finance, I was in that role when
Okay.
Working Genius came into my life.
Yeah.
So and it ushered me right on out. And now here we are.
It helped you self-identify.
So yeah, which I mean, I don't know. It took me a minute, to do that.
Yeah.
But you just can't unknow what you know.
Yeah.
And then it was very obvious to who I was working for as
Right.
well. So how do you determine right person, right seat in that interview process? Or because okay, so there's a skill set, right, that you need
Yep.
for that, but
Right.
the team fit as well. How do you go about that, or how have you seen that done?
Yep. You definitely got to first of all, you got to make sure you have established and well-defined core values, because one of the challenges I see is even companies running on EOS who have been running on it for years, they may have 5 words that are their core values, but they haven't really defined what they mean. So one of the first steps I want to make sure of is the organization has really defined what those core values mean to the leadership team, because words are impactful. Words mean something, and I can read a word and think it means one thing, but it means something very different to the visionary. So defining those core values is crucial, and then leveraging those core values as part of the interview process. What I've done in the past is the leadership team member that has the reports that are working for them that they're hiring for, they would interview first and verify if they're a core value fit, if they're a skill fit. If they passed that test, then we would have the rest of the leadership team also interview those people. And we're talking about a 4-person leadership team, so I'm not talking a large team.
Right.
But having other eyes on that person to see if they're a core value fit. So not just the person that is interviewing them and is going to have them as a direct report, but also other members of the leadership team. Because my philosophy has always been hire the person for the company, not hire the person for the job. And many times I've seen it over and over again, especially in growing, scaling organizations. You may hire somebody in finance and then they end up in marketing because of the company and how it's growing, and
Right.
again, right person, right seat. And so really focusing on the culture fit first. Yes, you got to have skills, but man, you can teach a lot of skills. I come to that over and over again. I would much rather have somebody that's a culture fit that is coachable than somebody who has this amazing skill and they are a cancer inside the organization.
Yes. No, I totally agree. What made you take the Working Genius?
One of the seminars I went to, they talked about it, and so I ended up taking it. So,
Okay. So I would submit to you that the working genius, well, I'm going to say this because this is
yeah.
my whole framework for
Oh,
for
yeah.
my business,
Yeah.
but also just as you're talking, um, when you look at a team map of different geniuses and you see the gaps
Yep.
and where the work is at a stalemate or not crossing over or not getting done,
Yeah.
taking those open positions and filling in that team map does wonders
Yes, I
as
can definitely
well.
see that.
And I liked what you said about the coachability. So, how do you, to me, the hiring process can be very similar to buying a house,
Mhm.
as in, you don't get a whole lot of information before you buy a house, right?
Right.
Like you get the amount of information that you can in
Right.
that moment.
Yeah.
And so then the same thing in the interview process. What do you have a technique or what determines coachability
Yeah.
for you?
It is hard. I wish there was a litmus test, pass fail that was easy to do. But really, what I like to do is get people to tell me stories and tell me stories about when they've been coached, how they've been coached,
Mhm.
without saying, "How did you get coached in your life?"
Right, right, right.
Asking them questions about, "Hey, have you ever been on a football team?" Okay, so I see you were on a football team. Tell me about a time when you were struggling with something and you had a mentor or a coach help you through it. So getting them to tell you stories rather than facts has been helpful for me. And at the end of the day, it ends up being, can you discern that they are coachable? But I go back to the core values, and you say, hey, are you a core value fit because you take responsibility? That's one of our core values. They're going to say, absolutely, I'm the most responsible person you've ever met. How about honesty? Oh man, I'm the most humble and honest person you'll ever meet. So getting them to tell stories really has helped me to get a better feel for whether they're coachable.
Yeah, I totally agree. As soon as that interview turns into a conversation, then you start
Yeah.
getting somewhere.
Yeah.
So yeah, and I also like to ask about their work day as far as not knowing they're working geniuses yet,
Hmm.
but it's got what is something that I mean, people have a really hard time saying if I say, what is a task you do not like?
Yeah.
Like that.
Oh, I like everything. Yeah.
Right. They're gonna have a spin on that in
Yeah.
some way.
My
But
my weaknesses are I work too hard and work too many hours. Yeah.
yeah, yes.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Yes, 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 yes. Oh goodness. That is so funny. Okay.
You've heard
So
that before, haven't you?
yes, so many times.
Yeah.
So I like to ask, what is something that you've done and then you go home and feel completely drained? And it doesn't even
Mm,
have to be in like the work environment, but
yeah.
something that you've done with your family or something,
Yeah.
and what's something that you've done that has uplifted you throughout the day and goes home and makes you feel like you have more energy
Yeah.
as well.
Those are good ones.
And I love to know what people's dream jobs were when they were growing up. What was your dream job when you
Oh my
were?
goodness. It's pretty sad. I dreamed I was working in a grocery store and I wanted to be a manager of a grocery store. At the,
No, what about when like you were a kid?
when I was a kid, I think I wanted to be an engineer. I think just because I wanted to solve problems. And
Okay.
it's interesting. I went to college for chemical engineering because I thought that's what I wanted to do. Totally flunked out. That is a whole nother podcast episode of how I flunked out of college. But I flunked out of doing that. But I look back and I go, I'm an engineer now. I'm just a business engineer.
Yes.
That's what I'm doing. I'm not dealing with chemicals. I'm not mixing, vacuum tubes or whatever. But I really am a business engineer. So I think I ended up doing what I wanted to do. It's just I had to define it better. I had to define what that looked like.
That's very interesting.
Took me a long time to figure that out.
Okay. Um, chemical engineering to
Yeah.
to this. Yeah, I have heard some pretty spectacular segues from what someone wanted to do in college
Yeah.
To what they're doing now. So that is awesome. Tell me a little bit about well, if you were working in a grocery, what's a little bit of your like career journey and
Yeah.
then go finding EOS and
Yeah.
then going into fractional?
Yeah.
What's that journey been like?
So I'll be quick, but I started as a paper route to earn money for a car. And in that, I learned how to run a business because I was delivering papers. I had to actually buy the papers and sell them and collect money and manage AR.
So you're an entrepreneur.
I was an entrepreneur before I knew what that was. But yeah, I was doing that when I was 14 years old to save up enough money for my car. That was my goal in mind. But and then I worked in a grocery store all through college or all through high school. Then went to college, failed out, started over, came down here to Alabama to go to school, and then I started working at an office furniture company. And what happened was I was, delivering furniture and doing warehouse stuff, and was able to show and demonstrate that I was focusing on continuous improvement. And through the 18 years I was there, I ended up as VP operations. And I tell everybody when I look back, and I've had conversations with the owner of that business, I was a closet integrator back then, and I didn't know what it was. But I had a recent conversation with him about 6 months ago, and I said, now that you understand what EOS is, was I your integrator, even though we didn't know what it was or what it was called? And he said, yeah, you were absolutely my integrator. So I was a closet integrator for 18 years or so. Left there, went to a telecom company. That's where I found EOS. When I got into that telecom company as a leadership team, we implemented EOS with an implementer, became the integrator, figured out where has this been all my life? Why didn't I know this terminology and this understanding? Did that for 8.5 years, and then had my eye on fractional work. Had that on my 5-year plan. I have my own personal VTO with my wife, and left that company to join the younger, sexier business down the street. And it was a guy that had a landscape business, a CrossFit gym, and a jiu-jitsu business. And what I did was I positioned myself to lead all of his businesses as a fractional, even though I was a W-2 employee. Did that for 15 months, and then back in December decided to leave there and was going to take a little sabbatical, but ended up getting clients quicker than I realized and started the fractional business.
Okay. All right. That is awesome. And I mean, not too many people are going to continue. This is what I'm learning. It's that as I'm entering, especially after being introduced into EOS and everything within that community, not a lot of people are going to take those pivots, even if life is offering it to them.
Yes. Yeah. So, and I would say that I would have been less likely to do that if I hadn't had an executive coach helping me think through things. That was a turning point for me, was having that coach to talk me through what I really like to do. And what came out of it is, one of my core values, my personal core values, is helping people personally and professionally. And what I determined is I have my most fun in that first 6 to 9 months in a business. That's where I really enjoy challenging the status quo, figuring out right person, right seat, making sure processes are documented. And then I kind of get bored. And through some turn of events, I've realized that through some of the coaching that I've been doing, that I've been getting. And that's when I was like, you know what? I just need to go work in companies and position myself to work temporarily. So all of my clients understand I am not a full-time fixture, 6 to 9 month engagement, position them to have a full-time integrator, help them build the structure to support that integrator, and then let me go on and find the next one. That's what I've been doing.
Okay. Yeah. That's very, I am very similar in that. So, but I don't know that I haven't heard many integrators talk about boredom because they seem to love their systems so much. But you like the setup of the system.
I like the building of the systems, and then once
you're an engineer.
Right. I mean, seriously, when you go back and look at it, it's like, I think I am an engineer, but yeah, I don't want to be the plant manager. I want to be the guy that goes in and identifies the gaps, figures out where the issues are. Let's build the systems in place. That's where I get incredible joy. And then let me go off and find somebody else. And I'll still support them and continue to help them, but I don't want to be in the business full time, all day, every day, maintaining that. That's where I start getting frustrated.
Right. Okay. So coaching, I know that I'm in need of an executive coach at this point in the journey. However, they are coming at me from all sides. Like there's no scarcity in the coaching sector. It's very saturated.
Yeah.
So how did you select your coach?
I'm so glad. I hope you can edit out what I'm getting ready to say if you need to. But no, I mean, I came across this coach. Her name is Sarah Hodges. I have some of my clients even use her. I even hired her for my son, who's getting ready to graduate with his MBA, and I just hired her to coach him, believe it or not. But I found her on LinkedIn, and her headline says, "I help executives turn shit into fertilizer." That's what her headline is on LinkedIn.
Oh, wow.
And it caught my eye, and I was like, wow, I think I need to have a conversation. And we had a conversation. And what's funny about this is I didn't hire her for me. I hired her to help me figure out whether I should use her to leverage for the other leaders on my team. So I had a leadership team, and my thought was, I'm gonna hire her for me for 6 months and figure out how this works and make sure it's a good fit. And then I'm going to go through and rotate her through and have her work with my leadership team to help them become better leaders. And then I found out that I actually needed a coach, and that's what started the process. And I was like, wow, you're actually going to, I know I'm supposed to get something out of this, but you actually helped me figure out what I want to do. Now it caused me to exit what I was doing, but it positioned me to do what I'm doing today. And so yeah, that was the headline that grabbed my attention.
Okay. And so was this your first interaction with an executive coach?
It was my first interaction with an executive coach.
Oh gosh, the lucky. Okay.
Yeah, so I hit a home run or whatever as the first one. But yeah, she's been great. And like I say, I've got clients. I had one of my clients ask me about a coach, and I was like, I got the person for you. I introduced him, and that guy is leveraging her. He's got his wife leveraging her. I mean, she's very impactful. So
okay, all right.
I'll make an introduction if you want to.
I may make that request. So okay, tell me. You mentioned before that there was an epiphany that came from this coaching recently. So tell me about that.
Yeah, so the coaching, the way it works, I work with her every other week for an hour, so basically every 2 weeks. And recently, I made a lot of progress in career-wise, doing well with the business. Took the leap to do the business, but she's really helped me start thinking about the personal side of my interactions in my life, and be a little vulnerable. She's helped me realize I really don't have a lot of friendships, if any, that are not business related. And I have just thrived as an executive. I call it net weaving. I don't know if you ever heard of that term, but net weaving is different than networking. Net weaving is looking for introductions where you can introduce some people. So when I talk to you and have a conversation, I'm like, who could I introduce Julie to that would make an impact on our business, right? And I'll introduce you to each other and then get out of the way. And the purpose of that is to connect you guys together. But what's going to happen is you're going to remember me, and whoever I introduces you to is going to remember me. So net weaving is a concept that really is selfless introductions rather than networking where you're trying to get something out of it.
Okay.
I am a net weaver at heart, but what that unfortunately means for me is I'm always trying to figure out the connection. How do I connect people together? And it's not so much looking for something for me, but it's looking for something to them. And I really have struggled with just like sitting at somebody's house watching a football game and just enjoying the football game because I'm sitting there trying to talk to them about business and trying to figure out how to introduce them to somebody. So I had an epiphany a couple of weeks ago, and we're working through it now to kind of help me be more focused on living in the moment rather than trying to,
like strategizing as you're there.
I'm sitting here I tell people it's chess, not checkers. I'm sitting here doing a chess match going, okay, I got this piece over here, this piece over here. I got to move these, connect these two. And my brain is constantly doing that. And I'm like, I got to sit and just relax and just enjoy the moment. So we've transitioned from, it's still executive coaching, don't get me wrong, because it's going to help my personal relationships as well, but transitioned more to actually help me become a better human or individual, I guess, so to speak.
Right. And that will be an all-encompassing elevation.
Yes. Yeah, correct.
And I would say that part of that is your enablement as well. That's where that is coming from, because you're always looking, people become you're not necessarily looking at them as problems, but there's something to solve there.
Yes.
All the
time.
Yes.
All the time. Yep.
That's very interesting, because enablement is my frustration. So that is fantastic. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
What I'd love to ask everyone is, what personally, professionally, across the gamut, what is currently bringing you joy?
I am currently helping 5 different integrators think about building fractional businesses for themselves. So I've got several people that I'm working with who are working full time for companies. Of course, I'm not going to mention their names, but helping them think through what that fractional business looks like. And I don't say I have a repeatable process that I can sell somebody tomorrow and say, here's your package, go do it. But just helping people think through what they're doing and how they are approaching full-time employment versus going out and helping. So I had lunch with a guy yesterday that's not going to be an integrator. He's going to be a different type of fractional executive, but just he texted me this morning, thanking me for the conversation, because it was something that he and his wife have been talking about for years, and his wife's been telling him over and over again, and he needed a third party to encourage him that, hey, you've got all the pieces. You just need to take the leap of faith and just go do this. I mean, you're holding yourself back. You're the only person holding yourself back. You've got all the cards. And so it's really bringing me joy to help people think through their career choices and, hopefully be able to share what I've been able to do through the help that I've gotten. I really like paying it forward. So
yeah, okay. Would you call that integrator coaching?
Yes.
Okay.
Integrator coaching, yeah.
I do believe, I think the fractional space, and I have to realize too, out in the world, not everyone. I've had something. I'll go on and on about fractional work, and then somebody else, what is that?
What is that?
Yeah. And I'm like, oh, fractional. Yeah. Okay, I mean, it's like temporary work. Like it's what I envision, like old temporary agencies used to be, but more in like an executive kind of space. And I think with AI, as we are able to do more in less time, and that 40-hour week with companies is going to go away. And I really think the fractional space is going to be the answer.
It's growing, and one of the objections I hear from people is there's too many fractionals out there. There's people that have no idea what it is, and then the people that are considering it, they're going, there's too many out there. And I'm like, I've never come across somebody that says, hey, I got this guy down the street, Joe, he's going to do what you're going to do for $1,000 less. I've never talked to a prospect about that. It's more, my competition is educating them on what a fractional can do, not whether I'm the best fractional.
Right. No, that's true.
It is so still early in the market for it. Yeah.
Yes. No, I totally agree. Well, thank you so much for sharing your journey and some of the lessons that have come from that. Is there anything else that you're thinking, this is what I need to put out there? This is the linked up post that I'm dreaming for tomorrow.
I haven't dreamed about tomorrow yet. I'll figure it out. But no, I think this has been good. I appreciate you having me on, and thanks for letting me share.
Yes, thank you so much.